What's up, everyone? Beast Mode back here with another video. So today we are going to get some War League coverage. It's been asked by multiple players, and there seems to be a lot of interest in having a video regarding the War League. Typically, these videos don't do very well because mainly the players that are involved in the War League are really the only people that care, but we'll do one anyway. We are coming to the end of the season. I think that this is actually the last week, week 13, prior to playoffs. So overall, I felt the league was extremely competitive. A lot of players that are new to the format had hopped in and are really sticking it out despite some of these teams not doing well. You know, we have Team Cut here 2-8, Diamond Dogs 3-8. What was pretty cool is that a lot of these teams have, you know, a good mix of good players kind of are on a bunch of different teams. So despite, like Sangang, for example, Sangang, they actually beat us, and I play for Team X, and they have a solid group of players, and in Edison anything can happen on any given day. So let's see what we have for matchups coming up in week 13, because it's very close. We can take a look at the standings here. Might have to zoom in a little bit for everyone to see. All right, so here are the standings as of now. We have the Honest Conference and the Kalut Conference, and Bongo Boys are sitting on top of the Honest Conference. So how it works is top 3 teams are guaranteed a spot in the playoffs, and then the remaining 4 teams will then have to play a play-in match, and then 2 of those teams will, two winning teams will then be included in the top 8 playoff bracket. So these 3 teams here in Honest Conference are locked in as of this week, and we'll take a look at the matchups here, but obviously see how close everything is. 8-3, 7-4s. The Kalut Conference has a few more teams that are fighting for the play-in matches here. We have Team X 7-4, Ultra Instinct 7-4. So potentially, if either Team X or Ultra Instinct loses, and it looks like Shohei Sleepers or even Crow's Nest can still make the play-in match. So there's definitely going to be a lot of shifting that goes on this last week. Hard to say who's going to make it in. Obviously, looks like Rod is in. They can't finish outside of top 3. Elite 4, I believe, can't either. Between Fuse and Get Rugged, it looks like one of these teams could potentially drop out depending if they win or lose. We have to definitely see the matchups here. So let's see who's playing who. So this right here, Elite 4 and Get Rugged, this is an extremely important matchup this week, because again, I have to look at like the exact tiebreakers here, the match differential and all that, but I do believe there's a way that if Get Rugged wins and wins in a dominating fashion, I think they have to I think they might have to win like 4-1. They will be able to drop Elite 4 out of the guaranteed playoff spot. So that'll be an interesting matchup this week. Let's see who else is playing that has something on the line. Ultra Instinct obviously would like to win that. They're pretty much in the play-in if they win. Team X, obviously we'd like to win that. This team is probably underrated. Synergy Yugioh here. Crow's Nest also has to win if they even want a shot at the play-in match. Dark PMT, I believe this team is extremely underrated. They've won like the matches they've lost, the weeks they've lost, it was like 3-2, very close. This team might be a good team to pay attention to next season if they stay together. Bongo Boys at this point, I don't think that they can really lose their spot there in the top cut. So we have some interesting matchups week 13. Overall, the teams that Snack and myself kind of talked about, and we put them in tiers before the season started, although we didn't have much information. I think we did a decent job overall. You know, obviously I would like Team X, we put in the S tier. 7-4, potentially 8-4 this week is pretty strong. And then obviously we had Bucks. We actually moved them out of S tier into A tier, and they're also playing very strong. So there's not much difference between S tier and A tier. It's just a way for us to try to divvy up the conferences. And for the most part, the teams that we thought would do well, Twilight Trill, let's see here. Twilight Trill, 7-4, they were in the S tier. Bongo Boys in the S tier. Team X was in S tier. I'm trying to think of who else was in S tier. There was one other team. Ring of Destruction, of course, Rod. So obviously these teams are all very competitive like we expected. Some of the surprises, which we did talk about, the GOAT players specifically, Elite 4, with Ivan, Moxies, Fancy Diesel. A lot of those players we had a feeling would be good at Edison just because they know how to play the game, obviously. And one thing that was really surprising to me is that a lot of these GOAT players didn't even mess around. They just came to the format and they said, what are the best decks, and let's play the best decks. which makes sense. You know, if you want to be competitive, you really have to be playing some of those S tier decks. And a lot of the Go players just came over and they didn't try to play the whole Flameville decks and the Quick Draw decks, which you see, you know, actually topped the YCS Edison back in 2010. So a lot of players naturally are drawn to some of those decks, but the Go players were smart. They know that those decks are outdated. They really can't hang in today's metagame. So let's look at the individual rankings here. So this is for MVP. So I believe it's going to be top 8 will be invited to the Edison Grinders tournament, and they will be able to play for an invite to Worlds. So right now we have, it looks like Ivan is actually in first place for the MVP race. So that's interesting. So this is a Frog player. Second place is a Frog player. And then we have Right Coco is pretty much playing everything this season. Hero, Vayu. John Wick, I believe, I might have played a game of Diva Hero, but has been on Vayu as well. The Poke Rapper is on my team here, Team X, also playing Frogs. So 3 out of the top 5 players are on Frogs. So that's interesting. 10-foot. Played a couple hero matches, if I remember correctly, and has been mainly on Vayu. So as you can see here, we have Vayu, you know, good mix here. Raikoko is pretty unpredictable. Livid also, I actually think I gave him one of his loss, was on Vayu for most of the weeks as far as I remember. And Fancy Diesel is also another player that is just swapping decks around too. So out of the 8 players here, it looks like about half are playing Frogs, so which is pretty much what I had said initially back when I made my tier list video, that Frogs and like Blackwing were the 2 top decks. Even Blackwing is kind of taking a hit here. I think Mayberry's the only person that's really been maining them. Cold Madness also on Vayu for most weeks, actually had beaten me in the season. And Hydro Pump also, I think, played a couple games of Dragon Turbo, but has been on Vayu, Blackwing, I believe. So good mix. So that's very important. That's something I've learned this season. I mainly play zombies, which most of you guys know. It was difficult to play zombies. I'm like way down here. I'm 3-5 on the season, so I'm not having a very strong season. My opponents have almost a 74% win rate, so that's pretty. And I've played a decent amount. I played 8 matches, so I've lost to most of the top players actually. Ivan, I've lost to. I lost to who else? Cold Madness. I lost to Hydro Pump. Allison, I lost to. So. That's why my opponent's win rate is so high, but mainly because they know what I'm playing too. You know, it's pretty easy to side deck for. You can come with a little extra hate just because Team X had so many zombie players on it. You know, one week I was playing against Thunder Kings and Banishers and Noblemans and Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors, and you know, even Hydro Pump had some DD Warrior Ladies in his Blackwing deck. So it's very difficult to win if you just one-trick a deck in War League. So if you guys are thinking about playing next season, definitely recommend that you have a good deck variety, because it'll be difficult if you become predictable. And that's kind of what I run into this season, which, you know, I enjoy playing the zombie deck, and you know, I play War League I don't take it overly serious, but if I do I plan on playing next season, I will definitely be more versed with decks. I'll take some time to learn some other decks. That way I can be unpredictable, because it's difficult to win when everybody knows what you're playing. So this is the MVP race here. Congrats to these players. They've had a really good season, and obviously the Poke Rapper has been the man. So carrying our team single-handedly. Hopefully he gets the dub next week, and maybe a couple of these players here lose, so he has a shot at winning the MVP, but we will see here. So let me see here, the matchup matrix. I don't really want to get too much into this, but from what I know, I do believe that the Diva Hero beat is still the highest win rate. It's 14-2 versus Blackwing, 88% win rate. That's unbelievable. Zombies overall, Diva Zombie have had a poor season, awful season. I think they're below 50% win rate, so not doing very good here. Main decks that have been winning typically are the Diva Hero beat, Blackwing's pretty good, and the Frogs have been winning as well. I'd have to look at this more. Things change, but I don't want to bore the video. So my playoff predictions will be, again, anything that's in this video, it's mainly just to make some content here. I don't try to hurt any feelings here, but I I think Rod is exactly what we thought. Team X was able to beat them this week. It came down to the last match, and I'm happy about that, obviously. But Rod, I still think is a pretty clear favorite to win. I think Elite Four can also win. They definitely can beat Rod just because Ghost Rider typically plays Dragon Turbo, and that deck right there doesn't care what your opponent's doing. And he's really good at piloting the deck, so he can be almost an auto win for the week if he doesn't brick. And I'm not sure if a lot of the Rod players, I know Hydro Pump can also play the deck, so it'll be interesting to see that matchup in the playoffs. Fuse also is a team that kind of surprised me because I wasn't overly familiar with a lot of the players. And like I said, we did beat them earlier in the season, if I remember correctly. So I'm not sure if they're good enough to play with Elite Four in Ring of Destruction. On any given day, any of these teams can beat each other. That's just how it is. You only have to win 3 matches, and there's so much involved. The rock paper scissors going first can really increase your chances. I know I keep saying it. We have the statistics. Going first in War League is a 62% win rate right off the bat. So a lot of that can just fall in your favor one week. You have 5 people play, and one of them gets to go first. You're probably not winning that week unless you're playing against some players that are just not that good. So I don't think there's a whole lot really more to talk about. I thought Crow's Nest would be a little bit stronger here. 6 and 5 is not terrible, but I really expected them to be in the top 3. I think they had some bad beats, and like all of us. And it's hard. It's really hard to win. People are on different decks, and it's hard to plan. And Edison is tough some weeks. So with that all being said, I like to believe that there will be a season 2 of War League. I don't know when we'll start. I definitely there should be a break, okay? Because this is long, 13 weeks, and then we have playoffs. It's definitely a long season, and it gets kind of drawn out, and at some point it's like becomes a chore. And I don't really want this to become a chore. That's kind of how I felt. I'm also in the GOAT War League. I played like 1 week because just managing two teams and in life and tournament play and all that, it's just too much. So I definitely think that we should have a decent break and maybe work on the policy, which needs to be updated. Some things that we ran into this season that I'd like to try to work on the team with and fix, and try to make a better season next whenever it comes around. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to the teams participating. Everybody, for the most part, has really been playing to the end. We've lost maybe 1 or 2 teams, which unfortunately it's a free league, and it's hard to keep everybody engaged, especially if they're like 2 and 8. But I will say that everybody had like Ultra Inswink. They load up a roster every week. They're 2 and 9. They're still playing to the end, and I respect that. Because it's really trash when somebody just drops from the league, and like now we have to try to find somebody to take over a team, and who wants to take over a team that's 2 and 9? And then if they are completely dropped from the league, now we have an uneven number of teams, and it just becomes hell. So I really like to give a shout out to everybody who's participated and really hanging out to the end. Overall, I would consider War League to be a success. Ran into a few bumps in the beginning, but I think it's probably been better than I thought. The trash talk has been okay for the most part. Not much going on there. So anyway, if you guys all want to play in this next season, join the Beast Mode Discord server. It'll be in the link. Right now, playoffs are coming, so you definitely get to see some high-level play. If you join the server now, you'll be able to watch all the replays. And that's about all I have for this video. With that being said, I'll see you all on the next one.